Hi. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Critters. My name is Lara Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We are an international educational center teaching people across the world about living, loving, and learning with animals through the science of behavior, focusing on applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement training. And we do that through our live streams, which we do almost daily. And that's through our memberships and our projects, which you can find out peekaboo more about on our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Tickle wickle. So, hey everybody. Anybody recognize this hat? So I thought I'd bring a little bit of Key West back home with me, back to the center. Good morning. There's Nancy. Good morning, Felicia, Sean, Lori, Eva. Is it? I'm not sure. Tim, Ray, Susie, Jeannie. Yes. So I am training because, as Eva would say, be specific, Bob. So when using applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement, hey, Lou, when using positive reinforcement and applied behavior analysis, you have to be very specific. So I could easily say, Rico does not like hats, but got to be more specific than that. Peekaboo to you, Rock. I could also say Rico doesn't like people wearing hats. Be more specific than that. I could say Rico doesn't like it when I wear hats. Be more specific than that. So this is what happens. What does like mean or doesn't like? This is what happens. If I put a hat on my head, and there are no cage bars between us, it is very likely that Rico will fly at me and bite me. So I'm reading body language. And I'm training them because I needed to wear this hat during this Coffee with the Critters. So welcome, everybody. Hey. This time last week, we were getting prepared to go live from Nancy Forrester's Secret Garden in Key West, Florida. And I took you guys with me. Hey there, Claire from sunny Africa. Let me make sure I can get my co-host on the screen with me. Yes. Hi. I'm going to reinforce that because he's calling me over. I'm starting to put my fingers further and further into the cage. So, yes, good morning, everybody. This time last week, we were live in Key West, Florida with Nancy Forrester from Nancy Forrester's Secret Garden. If you guys don't know who she is, you can find out at nancyforrester.com. So I've got a story to tell about this hat. There's a reason I have it on. And I was just on the phone with Nancy last night. Did you steal Nancy's hat or did she let you have it? You know, that's kind of a fuzzy story, but I'm pretty sure I just stole it. But that's coming up. I've got a story to tell you guys. If you guys aren't familiar with Nancy Forrester, because a lot of you probably are, but I'm not going to assume everybody is, because I posted a lot about her. Hi, on my personal Facebook page, my Lara Joseph Facebook page. I've been to Key West about 7 or 8 times. Key West owns a piece of my heart. I will now go down the same time every year. I will be down there this time next year as well. But I met Nancy Forrester last year. And yeah, everybody loves Nancy Forrester if you've met her. Her and Steve both. What a team. and their birds. But let me go ahead and get this started because I've got a lot to go through with you guys today. I want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing here at the center. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we did in Key West last week. And I want to really dive into enrichment because I really want this to be super interactive, and I want you guys coming back answering some of these questions that I'm going to be asking or giving ideas or suggestions. And then I want to touch on contra-freeloading because I think it's extremely important. If you don't know what it is, hang tight. I'm big into enrichment and contra-freeloading. But let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, don't forget to never miss a live stream. I guess I forgot to introduce Coco to the hat. Because I have Milo, our mini pig, in here with us today. Figure the hat's probably appropriate with that. But to never miss a live stream, go turn on your notifications. That way it notifies you every time we go live. And then another is you can also select to see us first. And don't forget, we now have the opportunity that you can come on live with us. So I don't know if that'll be a possibility with this time, but it will definitely be in the future. So last week I was on vacation in Key West, and before I get started, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the volunteers here at the Animal Behavior Center because they helped me make that happen. They knew I needed to go on a short vacation. They knew I needed to go down and see and talk to Nancy Forrester, and they all helped make that happen. I want to give a huge shout out to our manager, Karen Pratt, and our social media director, Crystal Phelps, because they kept in touch with me pretty much almost daily via text, just saying everything's fine. This is what we're doing. The animals are enriched. Crystal was sending me photos and videos a couple of times throughout the week because she knew I was concerned with some behavior issues. So a huge shout out to all the volunteers, and then we have all the enrichment volunteers as well. And you're going to see some of them. We have Angie, Lindsay, Amanda, Kendall, Vicky. Am I forgetting anybody? I hate being on the spot like this. We also had Sandy, who was here taking care of all the animals. Did I say Angie? I believe I did. But anyways, they know enrichment is such a huge part of everything that we do here, and they helped make that happen. So, and it's a key point of what we're going to be talking about today. Hi, Rico. Okay, so I'm going to bring this back on screen, give you an update of what's going on with the volunteers. And that is, here is one of our newer volunteers, Kendall Jukala. I know how to say that right now. Here we are introducing her. I asked her last week if she wants to start training. She was in enrichment only. She said yes. So we brought her in and started introducing her to the different birds, and here she is interacting with our off-contact bird, Rico, who I'm training right now. And Rico tends to, he'll fly and bite at new people that are new that he's not familiar with. So there was a series of steps we had to do before we got to this point. And then here is Lindsay Douglas. She's another one of our volunteers that's been here with us for a couple of years, working with Rocky, our 20-year-old shelter Moluccan cockatoo. And she is helping, she is working with, we're doing different things here to get her prepared to go inside the cage. Starting to think Rico's pretty cool with the hat. liking the body language I'm seeing. And then here is Lindsay again this week, going into the cage with Murray, our 14-year-old green-winged macaw. And she's getting prepared to step in and help with the nail trim training. So, yeah, Murray just won't let anybody in his enclosure. It's something that we have to shape. So, hey, Tina, good to see you. I'm going to throw your comment up here. Tina says, love this topic of enrichment, especially with my reactive and fearful dogs. We talk about each orientation, describing lots of enrichment ideas. Yeah, and Tina, we use enrichment here. I know we've had several topics in the past. We try to give an enrichment topic every 4 or 5 weeks or so. But you're going to hear me talk about different behavior issues and how in order to change a behavior, you need to replace it with another. And I know I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. You need to replace it with another. And a lot of what we do is replace it with enrichment. Studies show that if you're actually using positive reinforcement training, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. So we throw training in there a lot. That's why we do not give the end of training signal, because if that is the animal's preferred form of enrichment and you're telling them, okay, we're done now, that, especially with several of the animals I work with, exotics and zoos, that can put you in some serious danger. So that is why training is definitely part of our enrichment program. Foraging is a huge part of our enrichment program. Studies also show that socialization is one of the most complex forms of enrichment. One to not be taken lightly and just assume the animal's going to be okay with it. And we'll talk about that here as well. So anyways, that's the training, update on the training that has been going on here this week. And then I had to throw in this photo because several of the animals did miss me, especially this one. So that's your oh cute moment. Okay, so on our next screen, on our next slide, I'm going to put up a couple of different things, but I want to ask you guys, I know I have my definition of what is enrichment. What do you guys think enrichment is? Who doesn't know? Thanks, Tim. So Tim says, don't forget to share this live stream, share all the knowledge. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. And if you guys know of people that are having problems with their animals and not sure why, definitely take a look at enrichment. Enrichment is often not changed out often enough. Studies also show that with predictability comes boredom. A lot of times people say, my animal used to play with that toy, doesn't anymore. And I was like, well, are you exchanging it out with anything else? Enrichment is so much more than toys. Enrichment can be the sun, the environment, the opportunity to play, exercise, the opportunity to engage. And I see you guys are talking a lot to each other, which is awesome. And enrichment also helps with, it increases a lot of the things we do. Training is a form of enrichment. Training, or not just training, but enrichment helps increase the 3 C's that I give the talk about: choice, control, and complexity. So if the animal is in your house, if the animal, I don't care how big the enclosure is, it's still an enclosure. It still limits choice. So what I do with enrichment is that incorporates choice back into that animal's environment. I'm going to Milo the mini pig out here in a minute, and I'm going to show you. You always want to, I am always shaping complexities with enrichment. Coco, yeah, socialization. So Adrian says, when I ask, what is your definition of enrichment? She says, providing opportunity for the animal to engage behaviors, often species specific: run, climb, chew, dig, smell, hear, etc. Great. Thanks, Adrian. And I usually define enrichment as an arousal of the senses. Sight, hearing, olfactory, smelling, touch. And you know, with several of the animals that we have here, we have pigs, we have dogs. We have, not only do we have dogs, but we have deaf dogs. We have deaf and blind dogs. We have parrots. We have predators. We often bring in different types of zoo animals. We have vultures. We have fish. So I am enriching all of those, and I have to enrich. I bring in different animals for different reasons, for different purposes to help educate the public. So one thing I wanted to show you was some of the different forms of enrichment that we do here. Let me move my coffee so I don't spill it, because I'm going to start moving my camera around, and I am going to go get Milo. Okay, so Milo is our mini pig. I believe he's about 4 years old, and he's sitting here on his station waiting for me to tell him. He's like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? There he is. So let me show you. You can provide change. A lot of peekaboo, a lot of stagnant environments. A lot of environments get really stagnant and starts it. That's right, Rock. When you get a stagnant, non-changing environment, the more you'll see the animal start to become or show signs of being nervous or fearful of things being introduced to that environment. So that's why I always say, keep your animal used to change. What? Hey, Kevin. There's Kevin Sharp says, no matter how big the enclosure, it's still an enclosure and limits choice. Great way to sum it up. That's one of my takeaways for the morning. Thank you. You are very welcome, Kevin. Thanks for being on Coffee with the Critters. And that's why I always say, I will show, there's a 10,000 square foot center out there. It's not always necessarily the size of the enclosure that matters. It's what is inside of it. Enrichment provides not only physical stimulation, but mental stimulation. Studies also show that animals prefer to engage with enrichment. Peekaboo! Animals also prefer to engage with enrichment that changes shape. That's why we create enrichment here that can be destroyed and that the animal has the opportunity to move, change shape. Studies also show that animals tickle wickle yourself. Studies also show that peekaboo, animals like to engage with objects that light and make sounds. That's why we have a lot of different bells on a lot of different toys here, so we can tell. We'll put different size bells on different size toys so we can tell from a distance or without looking which animal is engaging with that toy, because it's important when we bring animals in here. One of the first things we do is get them interacting with their environment. The last thing we want to see is an animal that's shut down, and a lot of times that is what we see. So enrichment helps empower that animal. Okay, so that's going to be our topic for today, and I'm going to start showing some different ways we enrich here, and I really need to get moving, because before I move on to that, I do want to give a little introduction to Nancy Forrester and some of the things that we did. Oh, I forgot to add this. we've been syringe training here this week as well with Rico and Rocky and Coco. But last week, it started with our trip to Key West. And even when I am on vacation, once you understand how behavior works, maybe my tone of voice is getting too amped up because I get really excited when I talk about enrichment. But that's why I tell people, that's right, Rocky. When you understand how behavior works, it can be a blessing and it can be a curse because you know how to use it, you know how to change behavior, and you see it blowing up all around you. And this is me with training a pigeon to station on my foot last week during breakfast. I also met up with Peekaboo, Lara Keeley. Hi. Who I met there last year when I went to Key West and went back and saw her in the blue and gold Odie at the Hyatt Centric on Front Street. Even shipped them a foraging toy a couple of months ago, and we need to send another. And then, so here it was a sister trip, my sister and I. And then we met, let's get me. I went on a search for Nancy Forrester during Hurricane Irma, and it took me over a week to find her, but I did find her. I eventually called CNN, Good Morning America. Are you guys still not able to hear me? Lost the sound when you started the slides. Let me get the slides out of here. Can you hear me now? I know there's a couple of second delay. Can you hear me now? Still no audio. Okay. Not sure what would have caused that. Okay. Eva says she hears me. So Karen just texted me and says there's no sound. Okay, it's okay now. I'm not sure why. Okay, so obviously Karen's on here and texting me. I'm not sure why, and that scares me wanting to put the slides back up. So maybe, and that's too bad because I have slides on here of contra-freeloading. Should I try it or not? Yes or no? Oh! You can hear now. Do you guys want me to try to put the slides back up or not? Tick-a-wickle! Or do you just want me, because I can always come back. Do you want me to try to put the slides back up? Okay, bear with me. Okay, here we go. Peekaboo! Okay, when I took myself off camera, maybe that's, okay. Can you guys hear me? Yes? Good. Okay, so I just won't take myself off camera. Okay. So it's taken a couple of seconds for your comments to come through. So Tim, so yes, you can hear me. Okay, so yes, Hurricane Irma hit Key West pretty hard, but not hard enough for me not to go back down, because one of my main purposes of going back down was to support the island. And I tell people, if you've never been to Key West, you have to. It's the spirit of the people. And I did see some destruction, I know, but it was not bad whatsoever. I took my sister Dina for the first time, and she said she couldn't even tell. So do not let that hold you back. So Nancy gives tours 7 days a week in the backyard, and where she has a huge, beautiful area for the birds. You're going to see it coming up. Where visitors, and then I walked in and extremely shocked to see this. She had a huge sign hanging just when you first walk in, and Carrie asked, where am I located? I'm located in Northwest Ohio, right outside of Toledo, 50 minutes south of Detroit, Michigan, 40 minutes south of Ann Arbor, Michigan. But we don't usually have people here at our center. All of our work is primarily via live streams. So then here's the beautiful, awesome Nancy Forrester and her helper Steve that I did the live stream with last week. And I can't give enough kudos out to these two people. I met them both for the first time a year ago. And just developed a really strong relationship with Nancy, the work that she's doing, and I honestly can call her my soul sister. And she had told me, she had mentioned last week, she's like, I can't thank you enough for what you're doing. Why are you doing this for me? And I was like, when I met you, very rarely do I see people so adamant about what they do. They don't want much. They just want to educate. And that is exactly what I saw in Nancy Forrester. And that's exactly why I continue to support her and many others in the work that she does. So here was the people on the left. Those were the people that attended the live stream with us last week. That was a lot of fun. And I can't remember if this is Mr. Peaches or Molly, which are both males, Moluccan cockatoos that are up for adoption. She's had for at least a year. So I had told Nancy, if there's any way I can help, I'm happy to, even if I bring them here. I can't believe I just said that, because everybody knows what a cockatoo lover I am, that I have a feeling that they never leave. I cannot do that. But yes, I told Nancy I would help her get Mr. Peaches and Molly adopted. So here is me with one of them. I can't remember which. And then here's Nancy. Look at Nancy's face with the birds. It says it all. I had my sister take my picture next to Fish Monster charters down there in Key West, because I told Fish Monster I will give them a huge shout out for helping me cross post on their Facebook page. Hi. Yeah, Rocky. In my search for Nancy. Okay. Nancy says that was Molly, the 35-year-old Moluccan cockatoo. And then, so we finished our trip last Sunday. We went to Tickle Wickle Salute on the beach. And here's my sister, who is not a bird person. Thank you, Tim, for throwing up Fish Monster's website. Thank you. I follow their live streams almost every morning from Key West. So we went to Salute on the beach. There's me and Laura Keeley again. Here's Nancy with Baby Blue. And it's just so awesome to see how many people in Key West support Nancy Forrester in her work. And then here's my sister, who is not a parrot person, holding Baby Blue. And yep, there, I just want to say I love this picture, because look at Nancy's sincerity in her eyes. Look, when she looks at the birds. And then here was the end of our trip with a couple of us out on the beach. And I also want to say, if you want to find out more about Nancy Forrester, it's Nancy Forrester's Secret Garden in Key West, Florida on Elizabeth Street. I know since I was there last year, several of the people that follow the work that we do here went to visit her. And I'm talking different types of trainers, zoo trainers, dog trainers, people that are in the Parrot Project, the memberships, everything. And that was so cool to see. That was so cool to see. So I like to support people that do good work and show that they're in it for the animal, not necessarily themselves. And that can be hard to find. So kudos to you, Nancy. All right, let's go ahead and move on, I believe. Yes, okay. So let's get back to enrichment because there's a lot I want to talk about. Yep, there's a lot I want to talk about. And one is, okay, we've got, I wanted to talk about the pet tutor. And no, I'm not getting any kickback from the pet tutor for saying this. We do use remote control treat dispensing devices around here. We use several of them. And did I tell you that the pet tutor has an app that you can use from your phone and dispense treats? So it has Bluetooth capabilities. We use this with an array of different animals. And we have some surgeries coming up here for some different animals, that nothing of health issues or concerns. Nothing with any health issues or concerns, but they're going to be, they were pre-planned. So anyways, so some of the animals have to go into more confinement. And in order to do that, behavior issues can really start arising. Out of boredom, lack of choice, lack of ability to move. So this is where the treat training, remote control treat training dispense devices, Pet Tutor is one of a couple that we use. And we show that a lot. We show those a lot and how to use those in our memberships and our projects. But you can find these online, and you can also set them. You can set a timer so it delivers a treat every so many seconds or minutes, or you can have it on a variable intermittent schedule reinforcement. So that is one of several things that we do. And then let me give you a live example of the next thing. Let me see. Let me show you what we do with Milo, okay? So here we have a crate. This is more of an E-pen, and we use this with primarily the dogs. We don't use it with Milo because he can't jump over that. But anyways, here's one of the things we have hanging inside. Milo has never used this before. I'm spelling his name because he's standing beside me. And if I keep talking about him, he's going to think I'm training them and not reinforcing. So you can drop treats in these little pockets. Go ahead. It's all you. It's all you, Mr. Man. So this is great for when your animal's in a crate. Okay. So a lot of times people will say, this gives them something to do. This is a form of enrichment you can provide while they're inside the crate. So it's keeping their mind occupied. It's keeping them mentally engaged. We use this in the other room. I know Shelly Hochstetler gave us a snuffle mat, which we use with the dogs, our dogs and some of the dogs that come in for training. So can you see how, because if this animal needs to be crated, give them something to do. They can still have a job to do. You can keep them working for their food. And a lot of times, like Somebody messaged me yesterday about, is it cruel to crate an animal? And I says, well, it just depends on how you're doing it. It depends on how you're doing it. And she's like, well, I thought crating was punishment. And I said, depends on what you're doing. If you stick it in there, what does punishment mean? Punishment is an event that happens after a behavior that decreases the future rate of that behavior. If you are crating your animal to decrease an undesired behavior, but that behavior is not decreasing, your crating it is not being very effective. I would find an alternate solution. So she said, I thought crating was a bad thing. She used the word punishment. I would use the word aversive. And I'm like, well, it depends on how you do it. We crate train here all the time. We just make sure, like in my live streams, I'm training 2 dogs in the other room, and the one dog keeps interfering with what I'm training. I can do one of several things. Reinforce the one dog for stationing while I'm actively training a certain behavior with the other dog, or I can ask the one dog that keeps interfering to go in a crate and while training the other dog, but make sure you go over and reinforce or give something for that animal to do. If the future rate of that dog going into that crate starts to decrease, then you know you're punishing that behavior. When we open crates here, it is our goal to see animals, boom, run or fly into it, eagerly, willingly, okay? So you can see how much of an occupier of time this is. I want to move on and show you some others. So do I think crating is bad? What's bad mean? Be specific. Peekaboo! Sorry, got to get my co-host on here. The love of my life. What is that wall hanging that Milo is using? Is it handmade? I'm sure it's handmade, but I ordered it off of Amazon. Peekaboo! There's a name for it. Tickle, wiggle yourself. Hang on, I'm looking for the name. It's right here. It's called Ding Dong Pet. Ding Dong Pet. And I found that on Amazon. I think it cost me, I can't remember, 40, 60 bucks, something like that. We've used it numerous times. But the cool thing, the thing to pay attention to is that can get boring really fast. He's already done. I think it's called a snuffle mat. Mano. Yeah. We have no crates in our house either, and we have 3 dogs, a Rottweiler, a deaf bulldog, and a deaf and blind border collie. All 3 are crate trained. But then we removed the crates, but still, I would still wish I had one. But they're all in the basement. We can bring them up. But out here, we have several. And we like to take the stress out of animals being crated. Okay, so let's move on. Rocky, I've got a lot to go through that I'm not going to be able to make it through. That is new. Do I want to reinforce that? That I will. Wow, Rock, thank you. You like my hat? Rico's okay with it. Oh, pay attention to future photos because I've got an idea. Okay, so one thing, peekaboo yourself. Keep your animals used to change. It is so important. It is, if there's one piece of advice I could give you that is so extremely important, it is that. Keep them used to change. We try to stay away from routines here because when routines are broken, animals get stressed. That's why we have different people feeding the animals, not always the same person, because if you have the same person feeding that animal over and over, that can add stress. That was very pretty, Rocky. That can add stress. So do we have schedules? Yes. Do we have routines? No. Because when your routines are going to get broken, you guys, and you are going to see animals under a serious amount of stress. And if you are the only one feeding an animal and you have to leave, that can put somebody else in a dangerous position, and it also puts a lot of stress, anxiety, and frustration in your animal's life. So I can't put enough importance on that. We have We have the backyard of the house. We have the center. We have the training room. We have the bird room. We have that crate. We have that crate. We've got another crate in that room. We have the backyard. But those are all areas that we've segregated on purpose so we can keep moving and shifting animals. And when we move and shift an animal into a new location, it's new sights, new smells. Wow, trees move out here, has different areas of sunlight, has different sounds. So that's why I also, with the parrots, if I'm busy, I'm just shifting and moving them to a different enclosure, because if I move Rico to that enclosure over there, okay, here, this one, which I do often, and I don't care if it's a bird, dog, pig, cat, horse, giraffe, alligator, I don't care. There's different perches in different places. The sun shines in differently back there. And I noticed him always sitting on a perch in the sunshine. And I was just like, duh, you know. I never realized Rico liked enjoying sitting in the sun so much, because over here, he doesn't get it, because that's the north. But out there, he has 10,000 square feet of sunshine. But the same thing with the pig. Milo, when it's starting to warm up, we'll stick him in the backyard, and he just loves laying out in the sun. But that's why I'm saying you start shifting and moving animals to different areas. That's when you can see different things that you may not be aware of. Like yesterday on my Facebook page, I posted the importance of taking slow motion videos of your animals, because you can see how they're running, and maybe they're favoring some certain part of their body that you were not aware of. Like I was watching how Cello landed, and I was just talking to Nancy about this last week, that I will use, depending on the size of the bird's foot, is how I offer or ask them to land. And here I kept going like this with Cello, and yesterday during the slow motion, he wasn't even, because I'm like at smaller feet perching around here, he kept perching right here. So my hand goes like this, or I can just go like this. Right, Milo? Milo's ready for some dinner, so we got to keep moving. Okay, let me show you some different examples we can do with mammals or birds right here. I don't know how. Let me see if I can get this table closer. I need a production studio, guys. Okay, so here's our food prep table. And several different things you can do. Let me first see. So I'm about ready to get my hands dirty. What you think, Rico? Rico's looking pretty fine with my hat on. Well, Nancy's hat on. She will get it back after it has some dentures. Okay, so here's something very basic and very simple. But don't stick with just basic and simple, because basic and simple gets really boring really fast. My dogs love this. So we provide complexity. I'm taking coconut oil, and then I'm just going to smear it on a lid. Okay. Let me see if Milo even likes this. That'd be key at first. Okay, let me move the camera to see if Milo even likes this. Milo, come over here. Here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. And we talk about this in the pig project. We do a lot of different enrichment with pigs in the pig project, because this can get really simple really, really fast. And we talk about it is so key and important to increase complexity. Coconut oil is very good for them. Okay, so now I know he likes it. We can increase complexity of this real quick. Or something else we can do. Rico's like, I'm in. Give me some coconut oil. Watch what else I can do. Milo still needs his breakfast. This is only a portion of it. This is a portion of it, okay? These are his pellets that he eats. This is only part of his diet. This is going to take him 5 seconds to eat, okay? But you can sprinkle it on here, have it stick to the coconut oil. Obviously, this was just a last-minute thing I did this morning. I don't want to use that glove over again. So this is just a last-minute idea I did this morning. Something else you could do with this to make it last longer is stick it in the freezer, okay? Let's see. I've never done this before. Let's see what he does. That's Breggy. And let's see how long that takes him, because then afterwards he's got to lick all that coconut oil off. And when I was sitting here, thinking this morning, when I was doing this, I was thinking about the parrots, and I think the pig touched this one. Oh, something else you could do. Hey, Robin, good to see you. There's Robin Shawokas. She's big into enrichment as well. We have a deep dish feeder here. I bought it for, I can't remember, for probably several animals, but definitely for the pig, Milo. But what he can easily do is just tip it over and all his pellets fall out. So I thought, your pellets can't fall out if I do this. So you can rub coconut oil on here, but keep in mind, see how deep that is? Milo cannot get his snout down to the bottom, but he can use his tongue. So I'm not going to double dip, but if I do that, let me go get some more of his pellets. Or you can even do this with, say, pigeons. So it is sticking, but if you freeze it, it may stick better. So we can stick this down here. And Milo's down here. Now that I put the deep dish feeder down, he's working on that. But see, that's what he does. He just, Rico's like, I'm out of here. Come here, Rico. It's okay. Come here. Nice job. Nice job. So he tipped that over against Rico's cage. Very good. Very good. Okay, now he's going to sit. Come on. Put your wings on. Get here. Good job. He's checking out the deep dish feeder. He's not too sure about it. Rico is. But that's why we stopped using it with Milo, because he just tips it over. But let me show you some more forms of enrichment. Stick this back up here. Woohoo! Nice job, Rico. Very good. Can you guys still hear me? You didn't like the deep dish feeder? Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I moved my computer and lost my. I have to do hardwire when I'm doing some of my broadcasts. So if I move my computer, it just unplugged. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm back. Good. Something else I want to show you. This is pretty common, but if your birds like coconut oil. So here's one of the toy parts we get from Noah's Ark and Novelty. This is really thin wood. If you're introducing a bird to cocoa foraging, I would highly recommend this and stick nuts in the end. But something else you can do, Rico does like coconut oil. Yeah! And you can take different seeds or nuts or treats and sprinkle them on here. They do stick. What do you think? So he's really focused on something happening outside. I can tell by the way he's acting and the shape of his eye and where he's looking. But anyways, you can put like different seeds and stuff on there. And you give that to the different birds. Okay, but I want to keep moving because I got a lot more and I've only got a couple minutes to do it. I want to show you. There we go. Oops, sorry. Enrichment should be individualized from breed to species specific to individual animals. I always look at the individual. I will pay attention to the breed or the species, but I always look for the individual. How is that individual acting? Is it limited? Does it have any types of limitations, mobility, whatever, such as Coco or cockatoo with a broken wing? Levi can't hear. Snow can't hear or see. So we do a lot of olfactory with Snow, and Snow is a great forager. But and something else I like to say is go beyond natural. You have to go beyond natural. Natural, you can focus on natural behaviors and natural enrichment, but you have to build stronger complexities than that because it is not enough and it will probably cause boredom fairly quickly. And like I said, keep your animals used to change. Here is just, I just took Levi for a walk down the street to the next business. We don't have animals dressed up in clothing here, so this was something new for him to see. And I want to show you that Milo is still down here foraging on that lid, a great occupier of time. So you can take advantage of things like this that you see. Levi also has shown signs in the past of nervous of things being over his head. So I took advantage of that and just trained him back and forth underneath this flag. And when the flag was moving, the reflection of himself in the mirror. Hi. Oh. Okay. So these are just different forms of enrichment, also training. And this is why I said keep your animal used to change, because you never know when something like this is going to happen. And this has happened. This was something that was planned, though, with Quincy this week. So I'm not a big fan of those cones that go on dogs' heads after a surgery or any type of procedure, because can you imagine walking around with that on your head? It amplifies sound. Go like this and tell me how the sound changes. If your animal is not used to that, that can be a big deal. Also, that cone, when that dog goes walking through the house and it catches on the side of the chair and all of a sudden the dog's trying to see what's beside it and this chair is moving, but it doesn't have the full line of sight, that can create aversives really quick. I've been contacted many times by people who've used the cones on their dog's head that now have serious aversives, and so much so even to the point where the dog will no longer walk across a hardwood floor because a conditioned punisher that has been paired with the cone. This is the importance of keeping your animal used to change, and you can do that through enrichment. If you see your animal is afraid of a certain type of enrichment, pull it out, or move to a new location and then slowly shake that. Okay, so this is a picture I took yesterday of me scratching Suki, our blue-fronted Amazon's head. I don't usually polish my nails. I just did it because I was going to Key West, and when I came back in here, dogs see that, the birds see that. You could easily get bit, but keep them used to change. All right, that's the importance, and that's where the payoff is. You can get different types of exercise as enrichment. And here we're bathing Rocky to get him flapping his wings. And you get that bird flapping their wings at their choice, not ours. If we force them into situations where we force them to flap their wings, that can be very stressful for the animal. Different forms of taking animals for walks. They get to interact with different things. We had a cockatoo day in the aviary yesterday, and there's Rico flying around, and boy, was he wore out afterwards. It's already 10 o'clock. I better get moving. Socialization is the most complex form of enrichment, and build that complexity. We don't always make it so easy for the animal to get to the toy. I think I may have shown these before. Hi. So here is Kronos, the African pied crow, foraging for his toy, for his food. African greys are especially nervous about new things. I'd be careful. I would pay attention to the individual. We have 3 cockatoos here, and we could easily say cockatoos are pluckers. We don't have any pluckers here. We took our time and shaped Snow enjoying water, and those of you that watch our live streams know how much she loves water now. How that water is introduced can easily turn it into an aversive or a positive reinforcer. With a lot of the different zoos that I work with, Sandy, feel free to go ahead and do whatever you got to do. You're not going to interfere. Sandy's here.
Hi.
She hates it. Here is a video that I tried to take. Let me see if I can switch where I'm at so you can see the full. I've got Puzzles, the giraffe, foraging for his food. Foraging is a big part of enrichment, that what we do here. We have our birds forage for the majority of their food. And forage is the act of seeking, working for food. And we shape that. If an animal doesn't know how to do it, like Rocky didn't know how to do it, if an animal doesn't know how to do it, we shape it. Here's one we were doing for the pigs and the dogs. We just went out and bought one of these. I think they're called Jolly Balls, and from a tack shop. And we drilled the holes in it. So you can see it's an egg shape, so it's not going to roll around. It's not going to roll around like a regular ball. But so what the key is where you drill the holes, because if you drill the hole, I wish I could point to it, right down the center, it's going to be, that's where the ball is going to continue to roll. You could do that in the beginning, but then once the animal starts understanding that, then start changing it, start bumping up that complexity. So you'll see here in this toy, I drilled a hole right here on the left and another one on the right where it's not likely to fall out so easily. Okay. Oh, there you go. There you can see. Okay. Makes sense? The same thing with this container. You can easily use things like this. I'm big into foraging because it's a big replacement behavior. If I cannot be here, studies show that if you're actually using positive reinforcement training, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. I can't be here all the time. And I don't want any type of separation anxiety starting to develop, which happens a lot with dogs. Parrots, you're more social creatures. Separation anxiety can easily be developed. So I intentionally have the foraging be a way to redirect behavior off of me and off of the fact that the training session has ended. So this is a pretty simple toy. You can definitely increase the complexity by, and we show this in the pig project and in the parrot project. In the projects is where we really talk about increasing complexity in your training, predictability, changing it, and enrichment. So shove paper inside of here. That way the treats or the food comes out at different intermittent schedules of reinforcement. Intermittent schedules of reinforcement keep behavior, desired or undesired behavior, extremely strong. I talk about contra-freeloading a lot. I have several presentations where I talk about contra-freeloading. And contra-freeloading is when an animal chooses to work for food when identical free food is readily available. Okay? Does that make sense? A lot of times people get contra-freeloading and foraging mixed up. Foraging is the act of searching for food. Contra-freeloading is when the animal passes up identical, it has to be identical, such as size, temperature, amount, passes up food that could be obtained easier, such as in a food dish. If I can move my screen, you'll see what I'm trying to say here is Rico has food in his dish, but he's choosing to work for the identical food, but he's choosing to work harder for it. There are so many studies out there on it. And there's so many studies out there and on several different types of animals. Okay. I've seen animals pass up identical free food for the opportunity to train for it instead. So there's many different theories out there. I think there's like 8 different theories out there as to why it actually happens. To me, what I see is mental and physical enrichment, the opportunity to engage, the opportunity to socialize. Okay, just like us. Why do we work on puzzles? What do we get out of it? A sense of accomplishment. Okay, and like I was saying, a lot of people confuse contra-freeloading and foraging. Foraging is working for food. Okay, there's different studies out there that showing that different animals pass up free food right at the beginning of a maze for the opportunity to figure out how to get to the food at the end of the maze, and then they eat it. Okay. With that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Thanks for joining our live stream. Don't forget, we have a series of live webinars coming up. You can find our schedule on our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Our next one that we have coming up, hey Milo, is this Thursday on teaching your bird to forage. You can teach your birds to forage. I've done it with every single one of mine. We have live stream webinars coming up on pig behavior. We have some on behavior topics specifically, not necessarily species specific, but all of our parrot related webinars are of no charge to those that are members of the Parrot Project. All of our pig related webinars are of no charge to all of those that are in our pig project. All live webinars are free to our level 2 and corporate members. We have free webinars for level 1 that are specific on behavior. Okay, you are very welcome, Susie. And I just want to say we got a couple other things coming up as well. Our first ever enrichment workshop, 2 full days, several breakout sessions. We're going to be moving in groups. And this is for people with companion animals. This is for zoos. This is for wildlife rehabilitation centers. We've got it all here. So that's coming up the beginning of May. And then we just announced and opened our registration for our 2-day workshop, October 13th and 14th, for the first time ever. Myself and Dr. Deb Jones will be giving a 2-day all species training and behavior workshop here. Deb Jones, you've seen her if you're on our email newsletter list. If you're not, you can sign up to the left. We just had an email newsletter go out this morning on our live stream together. Dr. Jones is a psychologist, professor at Kent State University, author, and well-known international dog trainer. Okay, I do believe that's all I have. So, pretty bird. Thank you guys for attending another episode of Coffee with the Critters. You guys can always find out more information on our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com, and you can also reach me personally at Lara at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Okay, stay tuned. Next week, we're going to update our schedule. We have something very new coming for you next week that we've not done yet on Coffee with the Critters. It's getting loud. People are moving around. Volunteers are here. I got to go. Thank you guys, and I will see you next week. Take care. You're welcome.